What's going on, and welcome into your casual gaming news conversation for this week. I'm Nick, that's Connor, and this is your weekly gaming news podcast from Ep.27. Connor, how are we doing this week?
Doing good. Death Stranding 2 week. Been playing that, so really can't complain. How about you?
Doing all right. I have not played as much Death Stranding 2 as I've wanted to, but that's what this weekend's for. A lot of Death Stranding, a lot of fun on the horizon. Also, tomorrow I have the fun of picking up some hot peppers for us. That's going to be a good time. We're finally getting that done. We said right before this podcast, we're in Extra Life season. Like, we're actually like fully in Extra Life season, but that also means that we have one goal left that we have to accomplish before Extra Life comes back around. And that's eating some hot peppers and reviewing some games. How excited are you to return to that?
Not excited. Are you going to have ice cream on hand, ready to go?
Yeah, probably.
That's necessary for me.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that works to subdue the spice.
I mean, like, the goal when we first did the first batch was like, yeah, you'll do yours, I'll do mine, and then we'll do like another one down the line or whatever. I think that this weekend we're closing out our shoot schedule with you, me, and Brady, basically you eating only one, and then me and Brady eating two hot peppers and reviewing two different games.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through hell, recover, and then go straight back to hell. I don't know what I'm reviewing yet, though. I have a couple ideas. One of them is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Putting an actual review out of that with hot peppers. I have a lot to say about that game. Because you know when you get under the heat, Connor, it's tough to go and actually get actual thoughts out. I think I can get enough thoughts out for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And then I was thinking maybe we go back to Kingdom Hearts 2. That's the first one I tried to review when the pepper was not indeed spicy. And then maybe Persona 5 Royal, because I'm coming off of that recently. And I hate to say it. I think I'm down to like a 9 on that game already. It's an amazing game. It's amazing. But like, it's not stuck with me nearly as much as I thought it would, or nearly as much as Metaphor.
Interesting.
Like, I think about Metaphor still every week at least, and Persona, it's only been like a month or so, and I'm like, it was an amazing game. Like, I cried at the very end of it. The cast is emotional, but like core gameplay loop and everything, like maybe we could have shortened up this game quite a bit. Like, let's get that core gameplay loop down to a cool 70 hours. Let's find a way to do that.
Yeah, I think that with Metaphor, and with Persona 3, I know obviously they're building off of the original, like those are both 70, 80-hour games, and I feel like that's the sweet spot for Atlas games, Atlas RPGs at this point. So I could see Persona 6 being around that length, but at the same time, I feel like some people would be disappointed that it's not even longer. Hours. It's even longer than Persona 5 Royal, which is like, what, 120?
Yeah, cool. Like, I think I beat it in 130-ish, which is... That's a lot of time to be streaming the game, dude. That's a long, just journey that I'm happy is over at this point. That there's nothing on the horizon that's going to be too long. We do have Kingdom Hearts 1 weekend coming up, so that's going to be another sit down all weekend and play a game and everything. But it's one, like, what, 25 hours for that one?
Yeah,
that's not going to be too bad at all. And then we do have, like I said at the start of this, Extra Life is coming up. It is soon-ish. We do also have the co-op-a-thon before then, which we are very, very excited about. You and Brady playing Lego Star Wars together. Can we get the PS2 edition over here? Can we like have the OG PS2 and everything and run it that way?
That's what we have. So yeah, that's what we're doing.
I'm so excited to see you guys on Mustafar just failing those double backflips, man. It's gonna be such a fun time.
Classic.
And then you and me rocking some brothers. Me and Brady finishing the goddamn fight. Playing some Halo 3. It's going to be a blast. We got a bunch of fun streaming stuff happening in general. Let's just hop straight into the housekeeping now, because there's a lot of fun streaming stuff to discuss there. But also, first and foremost, we got to discuss patreon.com/Coop64, where you can get this show 3 days early, the Casual Gaming Conversation 3 days early, and a bonus episode of the Casual Gaming Conversation every single week. We just released our Death Stranding 1 review / spoiler cast. We went full spoilers at the end of that podcast for a good 40 minutes of spoilers, but there's also 20 minutes of us just yapping about Death Stranding 2 and without spoilers. It's a great podcast. Go and check that one out. I'm very happy to finally be able to be like, oh yeah, like Death Stranding is like fucking amazing, and I can't wait for DS2 and everything, because I felt like I had to hold that back for that podcast. But go and check that one out. It's a lot of fun.
We're not going to be doing a DS2 review for a few weeks as we try to get that game finished, but how are we feeling about it 3 chapters in? Just early impressions.
I don't, this isn't like a spoiler thing, but there's a moment, and I said it in our spoiler chat for the Discord, which also joined the Discord to talk about Death Stranding 2 and play Mario Kart and a bunch of other fun things. But I wanted to toss that out there. There's a moment, basically like 5 seconds into that game, or like 10 seconds in, where you press a button and it does something really cool with just like camera angles and everything. Do you know what I'm talking about? And everything. This is going to be really tough to beat as my game of the year. Like, I just know myself well enough to be like, you're giving me exactly what I want. And coming off of Death Stranding 1, where my complaints were very much gameplay oriented when it came to the gunplay and when it came to vehicles being stuck by one small tiny little pebble rock and like just like small things that annoyed the shit out of me, a lot of those are not there right now. And if you're just giving me the goodness, Connor, I'm feeling great on it. How about you?
Yeah, it's definitely more Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Is kind of where I'm at, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's Death Stranding, but there's a lot of quality of life improvements, and like little tweaks that are just making the whole experience not substantially better, but notably better. Like visually, this game is stunning. It looks ridiculous. The soundtrack is amazing. I love the different environments that I've already been to. Like, it's so diverse from like area to area. Like you are in one very distinct area, and then you like turn a corner and you're like, holy crap, this is a completely different zone. And I feel like Death Stranding 1 didn't have that kind of quick distinction between areas. It was more drawn out. A lot of grasslands, plain areas. To traverse. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I haven't really dug into the combat aspects of like gunplay. I there's been little moments where you're doing some shooting, but I think that it's probably going to become more of a pillar of the gameplay experience as you go further in. But yeah, I mean, like 3 chapters in, I think that the story is really interesting so far. But at the end of the day, like, it is just more Death Stranding,
which you want,
which is what I want.
You very clearly on this podcast were like, do not evolve this too much and make this into Metal Gear or something.
Yeah, I want it to be package delivery simulator, and that first vehicle you get too, that thing's awesome.
Yeah,
like that thing's really
I will say,
like it helps a lot that it's easy to get like out of predicaments with that thing. Like you press X to jump in it, and it like you fly over stuff, which is a far cry from like the trucks in Death Stranding 1, which is like the second thing you get. So I'm
very, very excited that finally we can start talking about 2025 in a very positive light. Because, like, for me, 2025 has been a lot of amazing games. And, like, when I was, like, scoring things like Monster Hunter or Split Fiction even, I'm like, I think, like, objectively, like, the only word that I can use for, like, what this is trying to be and what it is amazing. And so that's why, like, I feel very comfortable putting a score of a 9 on those games. And I haven't even come down from that 9 for either of those types of titles. But, like, this, for me, is, like, why we play video games. Like, it's why we show up. And the same with Expedition for me. I love that already there's that conversation of like, hey, like, this is a straight up contender at this point, and getting to experience it with all y'all has just been like an amazing experience thus far.
The only fear I have, and I think that this will probably subside as more aspects are added into the game and I see like broader changes, is that we're in a Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom type situation where Death Stranding 1 was so special. It was so unique. And never played anything like it. Now playing Death Stranding 2, it's like, it's still Death Stranding. And that's great. Just like Tears of the Kingdom was really great and like built upon that formula really well. And you can say the same about Death Stranding 2 so far. I'm just curious if it's going to feel like just kind of the next step rather than a complete evolution. And if that's going to hold me back from like fully falling or like being like head over heels blown away by this. I was blown away by Death Stranding 1, and this is still TBD. We're still very early in the game, and I still have a lot of aspects that I think are probably going to be added on. So, but that's my only fear so far. I don't think it's going to be the case. I think that as I'm doing more like camp clearing out of enemies, which is like not something I did in Death Stranding 1 at all. I just avoided the mule camps completely unless I needed to go in there. If that becomes like more of like a secondary or like second pillar of the gameplay, then I think that that's a different enough change up for me to like be like, these are two very distinct, very different games.
Yeah, I'm loving what we're getting thus far. For me, the big evolution is going to be that narrative, where like the narrative is just a grand scheme. We talked about it a little bit on the Spoilercast, like how cool it initially like sets out that world to be and everything, but then it ends in a place that I'm not like, this is the greatest thing ever and everything. I'm so curious with what the messaging of this game is really going to be about, and getting into that conversation of what the headline of this game was, should we have connected and everything. That's where I'm curious to see if it really turns the page and adds that level of evolution that you discussed from when you have the moment of tears compared to Breath of the Wild. I'll even throw in something like a Spider-Man 2 to Spider-Man 1 or God of War Ragnarok compared to God of War. Those games often get discussed as like it's just like more of the same and everything. Coming off of 40 hours, basically the last like major game that I played was Death Stranding and everything, getting another seemingly 40 hours of this, the fact that I'm not remotely bored or like remotely want to put the controller down or want to check my phone or just want to do something else is very telling to how much I'm enjoying this game immediately. I'm curious to see how much I get pulled aside for side quests, because I really am trying my best early on to not lose momentum with this one, coming off of playing 40 hours of Death Stranding. But I do think that we will go and probably at some point I'll be like, no, you love this enough to go and really dive into some of those side quests and everything.
I'm going to be doing a ton of side stuff.
Yeah.
I got to build those roads out, dude.
Got to build those roads. Got to build those strands. Back to the Patreon and the housekeeping. At the $10 tier, you can get amazing shows like Recollecting Retro. Just edited the latest Recollecting. It's awesome. We took you to vacuums and video games.
Yeah,
Connor,
video game store that sells vacuums and video games. You can tell by the name.
Yeah, it's a great episode. It's a lot of fun. So go and check that out. It's really, really great over at that tier. And then also we do the Co-op 64 podcast. We do bonus TikToks, and then every now and then you'll get something like a Four Heads video, or you'll get our SGF vlog, or just something random that we want to put up over there. That's a great spot to go and get some great behind the scenes and just some shenanigans from the team. Then at the $25 tier, you get your name read at the end of every single podcast that we do. We are coming to the end of another month, sadly. It's always sad to like have to switch up the names and not get to go and scream out certain names the exact same way that I've done it for months on end.
Matt, please change your name from Kingdom Hearts Sucks. Please, I beg you.
Yeah,
new month. We can turn the page on this, please.
Change it to Kingdom Hearts Sucks with an X for me. That's a Roxas thing for you. Anyways, go and support over there. It does keep the mics and lights on here at Co-op 64. It's a great way to support the channel. And you get amazing content over there. Shout out to the Twitch this week. We're getting wild, we're getting wacky, and we're going to be having a great time. Monday, Pokemon Nuzlocke, having more fun. Are you off the grind as of right now? We're just pushing forward.
I should probably. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need to look at what the
Elite Four is looking like.
Yeah, what we're looking at for like the end game stuff for levels, and make sure that I'm on track for that on pace. So,
well, it's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be the full crew this Monday, hanging out, having fun, playing some mother effing Nuzlocke action, and then Tuesday, Connor streaming. What's happening there? Yeah, it's gonna be a normal Connor stream. He's playing more Link to the Past.
Yeah.
I'm always nervous when I say that and only point to you because I'm like, I don't know if it's a Link to the Past or a Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
So I normally
Link
just
Between Worlds, the 3DS one.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Bet. And then the reason that Connor is streaming on Tuesday is Brady and Connor have Thursday off. So Wednesday, we need to get weird, we need to get wild, and we need to always fulfill our content promises. Back in, I believe, March, Brady and I promised during the baseball season, if we hit a certain Patreon number, we will go and do the 999 challenge. For those who don't know, there's 9 innings in a baseball game, and we will be having 9 hot dogs and 9 beers hanging out with you over on Twitch. You might be wondering how we're going to do that. We will be in our normal stream setup. We will have the Google Play, basically, of the play-by-play happening. We'll be watching the game, but that's going to be the way that y'all be able to tag along, hang out, and we're just going to be drinking beers and having a great time. We will, as always, when it comes to Co-op 64, be safe and smart. If we don't complete the challenge, it's completely fine, but we're going to try our best for y'all to have a great time this Wednesday. And then Thursday, we will be finishing Metroid, Super Metroid. It's going to be a lot of fun over there. Go and check out the stream schedule. That's going to be all in the Discord. So go and hop over to the Discord, which has over 2,500 members hanging out, having a great time, talking games. We have Night of Champions with the WWE. I need I need to see you in that sports chat having a great time, because that's where I'm going to be at Saturday night in that Discord, just yapping it up. Also, like, talk about Death Stranding 2 spoilers and team up for Mario Kart and a bunch of other shenanigans that happen only in the Discord. So go and check it out. It's linked in the description down below. Merch, co-op64store.com. We are still in that transitional period, but right now I believe that if you pick something up, it's going to get delivered right away, because they're very on the ball with it as of right now. And then review us over on Apple Podcasts. It gets the show out to a lot more people. If you love what we do here, it's a great way to support the show. And then the comment section, if we get something wrong during this episode, please go to the comments down below and correct us, so the next episode we can set the record straight. We had no major comments when it came to the last episode, and so
I mean, there was discussion about us having a conversation on Xbox and having PlayStation games on their console if they have Steam on their console. And I just want to clarify that Nick and I both believe that if it were a home Xbox console with Steam on it, that PlayStation would then block those games. We would speculate.
Yes.
They're not doing that seemingly for the ROG Xbox Ally, which you can play Steam games on. You can play Spider-Man. That's been proven.
By the way, once again, that's as of right now. That can also change, which I would kind of assume that might change.
And and if we're wrong, we're wrong. It was just our speculation. But that, I just want to clarify that we both think that would not be the case if it was a home Xbox console.
Which, just a heads up, but when it comes to stuff like that, it is normally the speculation aspect. That's why we like bringing in articles and everything, to make sure that when we're quoting a reporter and stuff like that, that's where the real facts come in, and then it's the discussion after the fact. So just get in the comments, though, if we mess something up during the show that y'all see us need to correct, and we'll be on it. Headline: Mario Kart World patch makes it harder to have a standard 3-lap race online. This is Chris Golling at VGC. Quote: during online versus races, however, players are only able to choose between 3 intermission courses to vote for, or a random option. Players soon realized that the random option didn't pick a random selection from the 3 intermission courses available. Rather, it chooses a random 3-lap race from any course. As such, the random option quickly became popular online amongst players who prefer more traditional Mario Kart races. Nintendo has now released a version 1.1.2 patch for the game, however, which changes the way the random option works. According to data miner Oatmeal Dome on Blue Sky, the random option still includes the possibility of a 3-lap course, but can now also choose from the 3 intermission courses made available to the player. This means players can no longer guarantee that they'll get a 3-lap race if they vote the random option. There's still a chance it could be an intermission course. End quote. Connor, one of your biggest issues with Mario Kart when you were discussing your review was the fact that I just wanted those 3-lap races. Now there's an extra step, and it's even more difficult to get that 3-lap race. What do you think of this story?
Yeah, it's just such a bummer, dude. Like, I love my traditional Mario Kart. I understand that they want to highlight the new aspect of this game, which is the world aspect. So if you're playing online, they want you to experience those intermission courses and experience driving from one course to the next. I just want the option to choose between the 3 laps and the intermission courses. I want both of them to like coincide with each other, but with this current workaround that we had of everybody choosing random, I felt like it was some sort of happy medium that you could occasionally randomly get a 3-lap course in that open queue. And now they're making it even more difficult rather than giving us more options for what we actually want. Just doesn't make any sense, in my opinion. Like, I think that this criticism has been levied at the game across the board from many people. I would suspect that Nintendo probably is aware that people don't like this aspect of the game, or at least don't like having the opportunity to choose between the two. So the fact that they were just like, sorry guys, we're just going to make it even harder now is kind of ridiculous, and it is very frustrating. And I hope that they listen to the fan base and add in a separate queue for people who want just the 3-lap races, or revert this decision and make it so the math works out better, where it's more likely to get a 3-lap course if it's random. It sounds like it's still unlikely because it's just the 3 courses, but I would say that like really heavily weights towards the races that are not in those 3 options. if you can still get one of those courses, I think that's okay. But you need to like really, it needs to be a very, very low chance, in my opinion. But I think that there should be a distinct option in the game between the two, but I doubt they're going to do that because they want to highlight the fact that this is Mario Kart World and those intermission courses are the courses to them, which I think is ridiculous personally.
I mean, let's start here. I added this at the very top of the article. This is once again Chris Glenn at VGC. Great write-up about all of this. This is quoting him, quote, each of the 30 tracks in this game has a 3-lap variant as well as a number of intermission courses which start at that track and end at any of the connecting ones around it. This makes for a total of 232 courses, 30 of which are traditional 3-lap ones. I think that if we were in a spot that, and I'm trying to give them some credibility for like why it is a little bit more difficult. If we were in a spot where there's only 30 courses in this game, which is less than even base Mario Kart 8, there's 30 when that Mario Kart 8 came out in 2014 and everything. Oh, sorry, 32. I think it would get stale really fast. And you saw that happen when it came to Mario Kart 8 original, where people online were getting bored of the courses, where you do have this variant coming in, allowing you to have 232 different permutations of these courses, making it, in my opinion, exciting each and every time, is acceptable for them to be like, yeah, we do want to show this off because it is better for the longevity of this game. With that being said, there should be an option for both. You should be able to say, I want to go online and play a Grand Prix versus where I'm selecting every single time the course that I want, which you can do with friends. But if I'm open queuing and everything, that should also be an option. And then there should be an option for, yes, we are doing the intermission courses and everything. Would 90% of players go and only play the Grand Prix? I don't know. I don't know if it would be that amount, but I do think that a very large chunk of players would go and just only hop on the Prix only when you do have these intermission courses, which sometimes feel same old, sometimes feel energetic and lively. I'm upset with this news story, but first and foremost, I'm not like this is a good thing. I think that the solution that we had prior to it was a good solution. And when I was playing online, which I played I played Mario Kart basically every single day, even like as much as I want to hop in and have those long running 2, 3, 4 hour Death Stranding 2 playthrough, like sit down experiences and everything. I don't have that every now and then, but I do have 25 minutes to go grab my Switch and play an online race and everything. I'm seeing the random come up about 40% of the time. I think some people just don't know about it when it comes to the selection and everything, especially because when you go and open up that lobby, it's this way, that way, the other way, and then random's in the corner. I didn't even notice it for the first like couple hours I was playing online and everything until I saw somebody post a random. I was like, oh, shoot, yeah, that's got to be an option somewhere. I think that this is a bad move, but I don't think that it's like the most egregious thing on the planet because I don't think the intermission courses are the most egregious thing on the planet in the first place.
I think you should just default to what the audience is looking for, honestly. And if you're seeing on your end that more and more people are selecting random, then you need to kind of serve that audience and give them what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So just because this is like the selling point of the game, driving from one course to the next and having like everything to be interconnected, I get that. And I get wanting to show that off. But if people are having more fun on the 3-lap courses or at least want the option to play those, then you need to
that
give
needs
them
to
that
be
option.
Served in some way. I think that honestly, though, for random for me, before I knew that it was a 3-lap option, like that would sort of guarantee getting a 3-lap race if that was selected by the randomizer. I think that that's a solid option and everything. But I wonder how many people are being like, I'm doing it because it's a 3-lap race compared to I'm doing it just because I want to select random because I don't care. Because for when we were on the plane for that first few hours, I just didn't care. And so I selected random on things.
I think more and more people are catching on to the fact that it's the 3-lap race for random, and they are selecting it more and more. I noticed it early on that you were getting randoms here and there, and then it became more and more and more as time has gone on. And I imagine Nintendo was seeing that same thing, and they were like, we can't have this. We want them to play the intermission courses. So then they made this change. So,
yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. And that's why a change was being made for this. Like, you can understand, like, they're making a change because of that core reason. But once again, I don't hate the intermission courses. That's the thing I keep on coming back to. They should have the option to allow the player to have the option. That's all we're asking for, is just give us the fucking option. It doesn't need to be this thing the whole time, but yeah, it also is okay that it's not the end of the world, that Mario Kart World is still extremely fun and everything. I think that Mario Kart World is such a fun game to discuss this year because it's a game that I hear most people only complaining about. Like there's so many complaints on the intermission courses are annoying, or it's not, the online isn't exactly what I want it to be. At the core of what Mario Kart World is, it's still like a fucking really fun racing game when you are having those moments that only Mario Kart can give you, which is hitting somebody with the green shell and swooping by them. Last night I'm playing online with our Twitch chat and everything, and I had a moment at the very end of a knockout tour. I'm in 4th place, turn the corner, have a mushroom, trick off of a ramp, barely cut somebody off and get that 1st place finish. I'm like, yeah, that's like the best feeling I've had in gaming this entire fucking year, and surely enough, throw the controller, scream let's effing go, and that's only Mario Kart. But as much as it is great with moments like that, it also is not so perfect that it is above being corrected and needs to be improved upon, because there is a reason that I'm, as someone that loves this game, at that 9 out of 10. But I also think that Mario Kart 8, when that came out, and 8 Deluxe when that came out, was not yet the most perfect game ever. It's not. It took time to transform into the thing that is now basically a modern masterpiece.
Yeah.
Headline: Capcom reveals Resident Evil Requiem started as an online game, quote, but we realized fans didn't want it, end quote. This is Andy Robinson at VGC. Before we get into this, shout out, man. Like, shout out to just knowing what your audience wants and everything. Holy smokes. Quote, speaking in an extended developer diary video available to members of Capcom's website, Requiem director Kiyoshi Nakanishi shared a brief look at the early online version of Resident Evil 9 and said it was ultimately abandoned because he realized it wasn't what fans wanted. Quote, you might have heard some rumors, things like an online Resident Evil or an open world Resident Evil, which we spent some time experimenting with, end quote, he said. Quote, but in the end, although we had some interesting concepts, we realized that it wasn't what fans wanted to see or play. So we went back to the drawing board and created what led to Resident Evil Requiem, end quote. Connor, a director not listening to the higher ups, going down the trends of, oh, we need an online game, oh, make it open world. How about we just make the game that the fans want? How does this make you feel?
Yeah, I don't even know why that was something that they threw out there in the first place. I feel like anybody could have told you that that was a bad decision to go the online route for Resident Evil. Every single time they've gone online multiplayer for this franchise, it has not gone particularly well. So I am not surprised that they moved away from it. I think open world sounds kind of interesting. I think there's something there to have a more open area, which they've kind of experimented with. Like Resident Evil Village has a big hub area that you're kind of going off of with smaller, more contained areas. But I'm glad that they landed where they landed. I think that the formula still has a lot of gas left in the tank to do interesting and cool stuff. But I want the Resident Evil experience from my Resident Evil games. I want that collecting items, solving puzzles, getting new guns, and being in a scary environment. That's all I want. And you can do that in an environment like in Village, or you can do it in an environment like in 7, or the Raccoon City Police Department in 2, and so on and so forth. That you just need to keep changing the setting, keep changing the formula a little bit, but keeping the core of what Resident Evil is there. And I think that fans are going to continue to be happy with what they're getting. So I'm stoked for everything that we've seen from Resident Evil 9 so far, and I'm excited to experience that really scary demo that we saw at SGF. So yeah,
I can't wait.
They showed it yesterday during the Capcom event, right?
They didn't show.
Some of the
they
gameplay,
showed very small snippets, and that just is what this Capcom spotlight is turning into. It is, hey, we're gonna run a trailer that we basically have already shown you before. We're gonna talk over it, go 10% more depth on what we're actually discussing, and then thanks for showing up. Yeah, just a reminder, Capcom's got really cool games. They did show the horse statue down the hallway. I was like, y'all don't even know about that horse statue down the hallway, dude. When you turn the corner and all of a sudden you think that there's a giant fucking thing down the hallway, but then you realize it's just a statue, it is chill-inducing, my friend.
What is that?
Yeah.
I had no idea what it was, and then we got closer, and I was like, oh, okay, that's a lot less scary than I thought it was.
During our hands-off experience, the person that was demoing the game and everything sees the horse statue, and then turns away. He's like, fuck that. Yeah. No. We're not doing that right now. But they did, I think, a really solid job of being like, hey, this is the direction we're going in. It is going to be Grace as that protagonist. Do I still think that they've mentioned Leon too much for Leon not to be in the game? Yes, in the same way that they teased Resident Evil 9 in the first place I was about to say the Game Awards at Summer Game Fest. I still think that we have not seen everything when it comes to Resident Evil Requiem. I think that we are still going to get some sort of action protagonist when it comes to what the initial pitch of that game was, where it was, we want to bring the series back to having some of that action. They've talked about the addicting fear aspect of it. I think that they are delivering really well on what that message is from what we've seen. But I'm curious to see. I don't think you go back to the Raccoon Police Department and don't have an older Leon Kennedy there. Whether he's playable, whether he's part of it, whether Aid is part of it, whether it's some of these characters that we know and love are around the story. I think that the core aspect of the Resident Evil story, going back to this location, there's so much fun that you can have with these characters. And when it comes to cameos or just some of these familiar faces showing up, I think that they do a great job with delivering exactly what we want from the franchise at this current point.
Yeah, I would suspect that we will see a lot of these characters. I do not think you're playing as anybody other than Grace. That's my speculation.
Don't bet?
Yeah, sure.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm excited for that one because guess what? Here's my prediction. It's going to be Game Awards. We are going to get a demo because they love doing demos for Resident Evil games and everything. We're going to get a demo, and it's going to be the Leon Kennedy demo. That's what I think. I think that they're saving that reveal for Game Awards at this point.
What did they say? What was the exact verbiage that they used yesterday?
This is our protagonist. They're like, we thought about having Leon in the game and stuff like that. I'm like, Leon's still in the game, dude. Maybe I just don't believe, Connor. Maybe I just don't believe. I think that they would not have mentioned Leon in the same way at SGF, that they wouldn't even have mentioned the next Resident Evil without being like, yeah, no, he's actually going to show up.
I feel like they have to mention him just because of the speculation that's been going on and all the rumors that they feel like they need to squash that idea or else people are going to be disappointed.
I mean, I'm just putting the clown makeup on, I guess, and okay. I'm going to go in on it. But by the way, we said there's another playable character, or did we say Leon for the bet?
Leon.
Let's roll back the tape on that one, Two Shoes, and let me know what the exact bet was.
I mean, do you want to change the bet to exactly that? Can we?
No, I don't want to. I think I got you on with another playable character.
I think it will only be Grace, but I definitely don't think
I think that there's a chance it's Grace and Ada, too.
Okay.
I think that there's going to be a action protagonist, basically, is my thought process. Okay. And I think that for me, as much as I don't want to, I probably will. If that is the case, and we go into it with the understanding that there will be two playable characters, for Grace's bit, I do think that I will muster up the courage and play as Grace in first person. And then for third person, I will play as that action third person protagonist like Leon and go from there. Because playing this in full first person, I don't want to do that. I'm too scared. Let me play in third person. But going down the rabbit hole of what that's actually going to be, I'm okay with turning it on if it's only 50% of that experience.
I think I'm going to play it all in first person.
Yeah.
I don't have a very strong preference between the two, but it does seem like it's made for first person, especially in the footage that we've seen, that it's so much scarier in first person. And I feel like that's what the point of this game is, or at least from what we've seen so far.
Yeah. That first person makes it obviously more scary, in my opinion. Like, they're just objectively more scary. My question is, will I be able to not shit my pants while playing this game? Because
I'm trying to shit my pants.
Resident Evil. Clip it, please.
This game doesn't make me shit my pants. I'm returning
it. You got to call up Mr. Capcom and be like, this did not deliver the experience I thought it was going
False
to.
Advertising.
False advertising. Oh my gosh. Let us know in the comments below if you're going to play in first or third person. I think that's a fun conversation to have because I feel like every time I've asked it, it's a good 50-50.
I thought you were going to say, let us know in the comments below if you're going to shit your pants.
I like that this is like supposed to be the one kind of serious show here at Co-op 64.
Yeah.
And It does not fucking matter. Speaking of not serious, this could have been headline number 1 because you have us two on the mother effing desks. Headline: Super Mario Strikers is coming to Switch 2's GameCube library next week. What the fuck is up, Connor, baby? Let's get it. All right, this is Chris going at BGC. Quote: Nintendo has confirmed the 4th game coming to Switch 2's GameCube library. Super Mario Strikers, known in Europe as Mario Smash Football, will be coming to the service on July 3rd. Moving a bit further into the article, Nintendo has already confirmed the other GameCube games coming to the service in the future, including Super Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem, Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Chibi Robo, Luigi's Mansion, and Pokemon Coliseum. No dates have been given for these games. End quote. Connor, we are so fucking back, baby.
This says online play?
I assume that there's online play in this.
Because there is for Soul Calibur.
Yeah,
F-Zero. Oh, we're so back.
This is going to be a fucking issue, dude.
Yeah.
God damn.
I love this game so much. It's so fun.
Let me confirm that there's on live play and everything. But my question to you is, for Extra Life, you don't need to bring the GameCube over, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
That's what that means. How does it feel to get one of like the GOATs over on the GameCube of NSO?
I'm excited. This was expected just because of what we saw during that initial GameCube reveal for the console. I think a second layer to this that is pretty interesting is the cadence of which they're going to be adding to this. Like, are we expecting once a month, one game a month? And if that's the case, this lineup, I think, is a really solid starting lineup. It's very interesting also that they chose like 4 or 5 of the most expensive games on GameCube to purchase right now. Path of Radiance, Chibi Robo, XD Gale of Darkness. These are hard games to get. So I'm really excited that hopefully it's going to open up those games to a whole new audience. I know that Laura really wants to play XD Gale of Darkness, and I've been thinking about buying it for a very long time, but now it's going to be super cheap on the online service. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited about Path of Radiance. That is a game that I've wanted to check out for a very long time, but it's like $250 on GameCube. So a lot of excitement here. I'm excited for Strikers. I'm excited for a lot of these future titles. I have not touched the GameCube feature at all yet.
Really?
So,
It's there, dude. It's easy to download.
Playing other stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't touched my Switch 2 in a week.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, do you think that it's just due to the fact that there's other new and exciting titles to come out, or is it due to the fact that just there's nothing else that really excites and delights you to play on the Switch 2 right now?
It's just been Death Stranding. We shot the review on Sunday, and I was playing up until then, and then Monday we have stream, and then Tuesday Death Stranding came out. Yeah. So I played Death Stranding on Tuesday, and then my stream, and then more Death Stranding yesterday. So just no real opportunity. Then I've been busy at work, so I don't have like any like downtime to pick up Zelda and play a couple shrines or something.
Playing? Is that been like the game plan to? Or sorry, are you still bringing your Switch 2 to work?
Yeah, it's just been in my backpack.
Yeah,
or whatever.
That makes sense.
I always have it on hand.
For me, it's been exactly what I knew it was going to be when it comes to my Switch 2 experience, which is just I got 20-30 minutes before I have dinner time or I'm about to go out and do something, and it's like that is my Switch time. When I have the longer gameplay sessions, it is right now Death Stranding. Before Death Stranding 2. Before that, during the Switch, it was Death Stranding 1, where it's like, I have a Saturday afternoon. I'm gonna wake up at 8. I'm gonna play until 6 p.m. Death Stranding 1 and everything. Whereas this is I have 35 minutes before stream. I just ate dinner. The lights are set up. The mics are on. I'm going to play a knockout tour real quick. I'm going to play a Grand Prix real quick. I'm going to try to 3-star something. Connor, I came this close to 3-starring a knockout tour with live people. It was electric last night. I went four laps in a row, coming in first place, and then I got bounced on lap 5. It was brutal.
Would it count for your...
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, very, very interesting there. But no, I'm loving my experience with my Switch 2 and everything. When it comes to Super Mario Strikers, it is probably my favorite game that I've played on the GameCube at this point. Like, I fucking love playing this game with y'all. And sure, we can talk about it all the time. I just like playing games with my friends. That's always going to be a blast. But there's a difference between something like Foam Stars that we put down after 6 hours and don't have a need to play again. And then there's something like this that any fucking chance we get, we want to play this. I literally sent out the schedule for Extra Life, and you're like, Strikers isn't on there, and that needs to change. And I'm like, yeah, you're fucking right, it needs to change. That's on me. And now having it on the Switch 2, just accessible for us to hop in, but then also getting to hop in with other cool community members. Are you freaking kidding me? I did confirm there is online. Like, it's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah. It doesn't get better than that. And then when we're talking about the cadence in which these will release, I don't think that there's something that we can pinpoint as the next one up. It's very interesting that during the press previews and the public previews, I believe, for the GameCube app, Strikers was there. Like, you were able to play Strikers at those events a couple months ago. So I think the assumption was, of course, that's going to be the next game added. So this isn't too shocking that it's the next man up. But at this point, everything else that they have shown, I don't think that there's an exact, like, that's definitely going to be up next at this point. Do you expect to get a good roadmap when it comes to these GameCube exclusives? Or do you think that it's going to be a shotgun here and then one there and then 3 here and then go from there?
I am not familiar with how it is done currently for the N64 and Game Boy and all of that for the online service. So I don't know what to expect. I imagine it's going to be similar to that.
Normally it's directs, and we get a couple in a direct. Here's 3 in a direct. Here's 6 in a direct for those games.
But it can be just like a random tweet.
I think
right?
so, yeah.
Where they just announce it and put out like on their website that, hey, these games are coming. And it doesn't need to be in a direct.
True.
But just like this wasn't. So,
well, dude, I think that they're starting to really love this app thing. And that moves us perfectly on to the next headline. Switch 2 exclusive Drag X Drive has a release date. Nintendo sets price at $20. This is Wesley Inpool at IGN. Quote, Nintendo has once again used its Today! App to announce news, this time a release date for Switch 2 exclusive Drag X Drive. Drag X Drive launches exclusively on the eShop for Switch 2 on August 14th, 2025. That confirms no physical release for the game is planned. End quote. Connor, $20 for Drag X Drive.
Is it not called Drag and Drive?
I think it's Drag X Drive.
I thought people were calling it Drag and Drive.
There's people calling it Drag and Drive. They're wrong. You know, you got to call it's Drag X Drive.
Let me know in the comments if I'm completely wrong.
It's probably me. It's like the Nintendo, or not Nintendo, the Xbox developer _ direct. I'm going to call it what they're telling me to call it, Connor. Okay. Anyways, let's start out with this headline. I'll let you yap it up here in a moment. I was fucking right. The last week on this podcast, we were discussing the timeline for Switch exclusives. And what did I say, Connor? I said, well, there's going to be, we're talking about the gap months and everything. I'm like, no, in August, we're going to get Dragon Drive, and that's going to set us up for potentially a September release for Metroid, October for Pokemon, November for Kirby. And you said, that's a good point. Do you think that they look at that as the Nintendo exclusive, like big enough banger to go and hold it down? And I said, I don't think that they care enough, but it is something exclusive to play on your Switch from Nintendo first party. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, is that I was indeed correct. Anyways, Connor, how about this? $20, are you hopping in on Dragon Drive?
I'll give it a go.
Yep.
I think $20 is a solid price for this. Like, thank goodness it's not like a $60 or even like a $40 game. I think that would be a really hard sell. I do not think that this rules out Metroid for August. I think that this can release a week before Metroid, and it would be totally fine. This isn't a full-fledged $60, $70, $80 title from Nintendo. Like, I think that they look at Metroid and Kirby Air Riders and Donkey Kong Bonanza as something of a higher tier than this, and you can just tell from the price. I think this game is going to be a fun weekend. I don't think this game is going to light the world on fire by any means, but I think it's unique and different and weird. And I think it looks like a lot of fun, but I don't know how much fun for how long. But for $20, I'm willing to hop in and give it a go. And I'm curious how this lines up with the rest of Nintendo's slate.
I believe that there's no local multiplayer, which is a tough one on that one, where it's like, but at the same time, so that means for you, me, and Brady to fully squad up, we're gonna have to drop $60 on Dragon Drive, which at the end of the day, that's only one full price game for us to go and have a stream or two or play over a weekend and have some fun with. $20 is the very, very great price for this game, where it's like $30 I think is a hard sell. $40 I think is a hard sell. 60 or 70, it's a weekend game. You're playing this one for a couple weekends, and then you're gonna have the people that go and get after it and play it for a few months for some reason. But I do think that this is a sign that they believe in this game, that they want to go and have it show up and have it its own moment in the spotlight. I'll toss out, I think that there is a very unlikely chance that we get Metroid now in August, because they want to go and have the cadence. They want to go at the end of the year and say, hey, we fucking delivered the goods every single month. We delivered a Nintendo exclusive that like, not all of them are going to be bangers, and they know that. Like, they are going to have those down months. But if it is the cadence of, hey, we're going to add something small like a GameCube classic game with super strikers and everything, and then we're going to go in August and deliver a experience that is only $20. Hey, just come in, have a great weekend, play for a couple nights. I think it's a great cadence to have. And then September early on, you can go and say, June, Mario Kart. July, Bonanza, Dragon Drive, Metroid, Pokemon into Kirby Air Riders. There we go. That's a money lineup and everything. And I think that there's some truth to the fact that, like, that is what they're thinking at this point.
I just think that the gap between Donkey Kong Bonanza and something in September, if this is what is filling August, because I think a lot of people are going to skip this one, I think that is somewhat an issue, like an issue for Nintendo, honestly. So
there's got to be a gap in there some point. And like, you just look at the Switch 1 release, they didn't go 9 months deep where every single month there was something.
But they had it early, right? Where they weren't missing a month?
Early on, I mean, it was... No, I think that month 3 was that month for them, because it was Breath of the Wild, then it was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and then I think that the next month was a gap, and then it was Splatoon in June.
You might be right.
And so they're once again, we talked about this so often in the Switch lead-in. Run the fucking same playbook. Why would you not run the same playbook? You just need to go and have it deliver in a way of consistently having a reason to pick up your Switch. And once again, when we're talking about the Nintendo hardcore that really is excited to just play fucking anything on their Switch, I think that this would be a great time to release a title like this, where it is like, yeah, you're going to be hankering to probably play something. Go and pick up this title. It'll tide you over till we get to the next banger, most likely 90 plus Metacritic with Metroid, or let's just go on the safe side of things, 80 plus Metacritic with Metroid Prime 4. You know it's going to be a great title because that's what Metroid is and everything. And then you got Pokemon right around the corner. I think that this would actually be smart to take the month there, because if it is August, what the fuck is September? You know, like, you're just sitting on your hands for a moment there when you could have had it just be like, and I'm not asking for this to be September 25th or something. It can be September like 9th, and it would work out very well when it comes to an August, mid-August title with this one.
I would rather them stack up in August and have Metroid in August with Dragon Drive, and then have a break in September, because then you have 3 big games, 1 smaller game to tide you over in between that off month when you're trying to get to Pokemon. I think is better than having just the small game in August, because what is it, the 17th for Donkey Kong? And then if we're not playing anything major on the console until September 12th or whatever, like, that's a pretty big gap.
I mean, that is a gap, but there's going to be that gap no matter what with the lineup we currently have.
I would rather have that gap and have 3 games to play, 3 major games to play, there's a higher likelihood that I'm still working my way through all of them.
But this way, Nintendo gets to say there was never a gap, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And I do think that there is some truth to that, where it is, I look at this and say, when we're going to be grading Nintendo at the end of this year, I think that it will be a feather in their cap being like, yeah, they didn't miss a single fucking month. And even though it might not be setting the world on fire, it is a reason to pick up the Switch and have a cool experience. Because when we talk about the Switch 1's life cycle and just even the entirety of it, we're looking at most years getting, on a really great year, you might get like 4 awesome fucking titles where you get a Fire Emblem, a Splatoon, a Mario, and a Zelda. That's what I look at when I think of year 1, right? There was a Fire Emblem year 1, correct? Smaller Fire Emblem, not 3 houses.
No, was it Warriors? Fire Emblem Warriors?
Yeah, that checks out. But once again, please get in the comments on that. You might get 4 banger games. Most likely, you're going to get 3, and even more often towards the end of the life cycle, you got 2 major games in a year. Right now, we're looking at really 4 major games.
The issue is that it's a little bit lessened because 2 of them are Switch 1 games.
I don't think that way basically at all. If you're playing Pokemon Legends on Switch 1, good fucking luck. It's going to run like turd.
I know we think that way, but you can see the way that people talk about the PS5 having no games, that if it comes out on the previous gen, people like don't count it as a win for the console.
I think that that's wild. And honestly, the reason people are doing that, we can discredit a lot of these major companies for sucking at times when it comes to the way that they are often anti-consumer friendly. Putting those games on those previous consoles is extremely consumer friendly. Hey, if you want the option, go and pick it up. There is super cool for the people that are not ready to make that transition over to that next generation.
You just want to feel like you're getting value out of the thing that you spent $500 on. And if you can only play it on that console, it makes you think like, oh, thank goodness I have this. And I made that upgrade so I can play God of War Ragnarok. But when it's coming out on both consoles, it lessens the value of needing a PS5. And you could say the same for Metroid and Pokemon later this year, that you don't need to upgrade to a Switch 2 to play Pokemon. It's on the Switch 1. And a lot of people, and they're willing to put up with a lot of crappy frame rates and visuals when it comes to the Pokemon series on Switch 1, as we saw with Scarlet and Violet, which sold very well. That I think a lot of people are going to be fine with just sticking with their Switch 1.
I do think that there will be people that are fine, but if you're somebody that is enthusiastic about the tech aspect of what you're getting, which I think is a large part of the current core Nintendo audience, you have your Nintendo fanboys that are just always 100% going to buy the new shit. Then you have your people that are just the general, very much gaming fans that want the new thing. I think the general gaming fandom is very clear whether like, I'm picking this up because thank God I don't have to play the next Pokemon game at just a crap frame rate. Like the visuals are gosh awful. I do agree though that that gap is more severe of enjoyment when you understand the fact that I'm getting this because I have this console and it's nowhere else. 100%, that makes complete sense. They are doing a great job already though, in my opinion, of getting that transition to start happening with Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, and then eventually Kirby Air Riders. The fact that there's going to be 3 major exclusives with some of your bigger IP. Donkey Kong is probably 5th, 6th, 7th biggest IP when it comes to Nintendo at this point. Kirby, 6th, 7th, 8th when it comes to Nintendo at this point. And you're pulling in Mario Kart World, which we can have the conversation of what's bigger, 3D Mario or Mario Kart just in general when it comes to the amount of players that are playing a game like that. I would lean to say that Mario Kart is potentially even a bigger IP than just general Mario. Obviously, that's an oxymoron because one is within the other one. But like, there is something there that these games are really good at already moving the needle. I think that when we're talking about what this year is, Dragon Drive is not going to move the needle for a lot of people. But some of those bigger titles will and do a good job doing so. You know, my question to you to just close out this Nintendo Rock block that we had: are you feeling good with the upcoming slate now that we have another puzzle piece fulfilled?
Yeah, I mean, I've always felt good about the games that they have coming out in 2025, and if there is that month break with just that filling August, I think that's okay, but it's not my preferred option. But I think the overall slate, like, it's really hard to look at the first year of Nintendo Switch 2 and not be pretty happy with it between Metroid and Donkey Kong and Kirby.
When are we going to change the tune of Nintendo's first year to actually be the next 12 months since this console releases?
I don't know.
Because that's a really interesting conversation to have. Because when we talk about Nintendo's first year with the Switch, it makes a bunch of sense. That came out in the spring. But when it comes to PlayStation's first year or Xbox's first year with their new consoles, the console came out in November. So we really do not consider it's really just a launch lineup, you know? And then when we're grading out like PlayStation's 2020, I think it's clear that like that's their strongest year ever because you talked about The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost, and that amazing launch lineup. When you talk about Xbox, them closing out, was Gears 5 2020 or 2019? I think it's 2019. But it was just like a rough year around. And then there's the console. This one is obviously, yeah, we're talking about the first year of the Switch, but it really is. We're talking about 5 games in 6 months as of right now of some level of consequence. And they're doing a rock solid job, in my opinion. Headline: Capcom reveals Pragmata's unique puzzle shooting gameplay in a new video. This is Andy Robson at VGC. Quote, A video shown during a live stream event on Thursday offered the first public look at the game's puzzle shooting gameplay, which has players hacking robots via a puzzle minigame while simultaneously dodging and shooting them. Capcom's first announced Pragmata, a rare original IP from the publisher best known for Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, and Street Fighter, way back in June 2020. Since then, it has been delayed multiple times and is now due in 2026. End quote. Connor, did you catch any of this gameplay for Pragmata?
I did not.
Dude, this looks awesome. And I think that the biggest headline that nobody has used yet is how much fun is it to type in a stratagem on Helldivers? Pretty gosh darn fun to have that. Oh shit, my buddy's down. I need to go and go crazy with the D-pad real quick as I'm running away from bug monsters, and then toss the grenade, and then all of a sudden they're going to redeploy back in, and then they fucking murder me because they're an asshole friend. Shout out Brady. I think that experience is like so awesome, and it's a different flavor of that. But the core gameplay of there's a box and you need to go and utilize, I believe, your D-pad to go and go down, left, right, hit different keys to make sure that you're when you're breaking their shield, that it goes for even longer, and then you end up in a certain place by just typing in the D-pad code while you're dodging left and hitting those shots and everything. I think that this game, if it's able to just remotely hit on some level of narrative, it's going to be fucking awesome when it comes to the gameplay. This was by far the biggest headline out of the Capcom event. Oh, by the way, if you did not watch that event, maybe go turn on the first 7 minutes, then turn it off.
Yeah, I've been on a weird journey with Pragmata. When it was first revealed, I was like, this looks pretty interesting. And I like Capcom. I'm always down for a new Capcom IP. And like they said here, we haven't gotten one in a very long time. I mean, we got Kinizugami last year. I guess they are trying some weird new experimental stuff, but Pragmata is a big AAA one, so that's pretty unique and exciting. But I was excited about it at reveal, then it just got delayed and delayed and delayed. And when we finally got to see footage of it at State of Play, I was like, it doesn't look great. I'm not really sure if I'm totally sold on it. Then people got to play it at SGF, and I was like, okay, maybe people are a lot higher on it off of that. Maybe this is going to be something special, something interesting and weird and good. And then now off of this, it's like, yeah, I think that they're taking some pretty big swings here, and I'm curious to see if it all pans out. This game has been in development hell for a very long time, so for it to finally have a launch year of 2026 that they hopefully hit, I think I'm now kind of on board and looking forward to it. So
this is further in the same article that I was just reading from. Just a quick quote: Pragmata's short demo felt unique, polished, and left us wanting more.
Yeah,
like the fact that was the scuttlebutt. I think across the board,
that was the general sentiment.
Yeah, from SGF, just talking to people that got hands on with it, like. I'm so stoked to get hands-on and actually play through this. They said that there's a demo happening at Gamescom, I believe, at the end of that trailer and everything. So people will be getting to, most likely, I assume, experience the demo that Press did a few weeks ago and everything. I think that this is going to be really freaking cool.
When do you think it comes out?
Dude, Capcom's year next year is wild.
What is it?
Onimusha, Resident Evil, and this. Yeah. Like, I think that they do
early... then summer, and then in the fall.
Yeah, and I think that this might be the fall one. I really maybe it gets the summer slot. We know that February for Resident Evil. I think that they could do a July, and then they could do a November even.
And I feel like we've seen a lot of trailers for Onimusha at this point.
But we've also now seen gameplay from this. I feel like all these games are relatively soon to come and everything. Honestly, there's a world
we saw gameplay for Onimusha though.
That's true,
and we have seen gameplay in trailers. For Onimusha.
Yeah, I think that there's a chance that all these games might be first 7 months next year. Oh, okay. Which like sounds fucking nuts to say, but yeah, I mean, all these games are looking like they're cooking at a very proper pace. I mean, the SGF 2023 behind closed doors saw about 30 minutes of Monster Hunter. Game came out in February. Onimusha, we saw 30 minutes behind closed doors. I don't think that it's a far cry to be like, yeah, that game's going to be somewhat relatively early in the year. And then the fact that people did get hands-on with Pragmata, the fact that they're willing to go and give hands-on to general public in a couple months is fucking wild for a game that could be November. The only thing that gives me some level of hesitation when it comes to Pragmata's release date is the fact that, yeah, they've delayed this thing so many times. The sticky note bit is freaking hysterical as somebody that watches all these things where it's like, if the sticky note can show up, the sticky note then goes away and it goes from 2023 to 24 to 2026. It's like, yeah, this is redonkulous, but it's also a good understanding of, hey, we're going to let this game cook and turn into something pretty cool.
I feel like they don't show it again if they're not feeling pretty confident that they're going to hit that 2026 release window. So, yeah, I think it's actually going to come out next year.
Yeah, I do too. And I'm looking forward to it for sure. I think that this is like, Capcom has 3 of my top 10 most anticipated games for 2026 as of right now. Is it because we don't know a lot about 2026? Yeah. I think when we are shooting that most anticipated video in January or February next year, yeah, I think that Pragmata, Onimusha is the question mark for me at this point, even though that looked awesome.
I'm least excited for Pragmata out of those 3 major Capcom games, but that isn't to say I'm not excited for Pragmata. So.
I think I'm least excited for Onimusha, and it's really close. And it's too, because right now they don't miss. Like, they just do not miss. And once again, it's funny going back to that article and everything. Once again, great writing from the VGC team. We wrote, there are question marks about how its ideas will shake out across an experience likely in excess of tens of hours. But with Capcom's unblemished modern track record, it'd be hard to push not to have faith in it that it'll follow through on its ideas. End quote. Like, this team Capcom is at not only the top of their game, they might be one of the best publishers in the entire business. They've not released something that has not been generally receptive when it comes to their major IPs to a very high degree. And then you have something like Kunitsugami that fucking rips for a lot of people last year. You have Street Fighter just being one of the current shining stars when it comes to the modern gameplay landscape for fighting games, where it is really just like, yeah, Tekken had a bad update earlier this year. A lot of people are still frowning on it. MK1, they're moving on to the next thing. Street Fighter 6 had a great showing at this showcase too, where it's like they're moving on with their seasons really well and they're still cooking. So
what's the worst Capcom game of the last few years? Is it Dragon's Dogma 2?
What's the Dino game? There was the dinosaur game.
Oh, shoot.
It's not Dino Crisis.
I don't remember.
But you know what I'm talking. Exoprimal?
Yeah.
Exoprimal?
That sounds right. Yeah.
That didn't get the best reception.
I want to say that just with Dragon's Dogma 2, I feel like that made a splash when it first came out, and then people kind of just like did not really stick with it. Like, it didn't stick with people like I think a lot of people hoped for. Not that it reviewed pretty well. But yeah.
87 I think on Metacritic, maybe 86. Like, that's
really
rock solid. Yeah. What is your guess right now?
83, 84 is what I thought. 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
It is currently on Metacritic at 86.
Wow.
It was at 87 when it first came out.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Which, like, dude, reviewers loved it, that game. Like, it really captured an audience in a big way where they did take some swings and it hit for a lot of people. And so I'm at the point where, like, seal of approval when it comes to Capcom titles, where it's like, yeah, they just freaking make great games. That's all they do. And the fact that they're portfolio too is as diverse as it is currently, where we're getting a sword action game that is not seemingly a Souls-like game, which we don't have a lot of those currently with Onimusha. We're getting a sci-fi shooter puzzle game with Pragmata, and we're getting a first/third person horror game from one of the best horror franchises of all time. Dude, all in 1 year. Come on. They've just been killing it recently. Headline: MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition officially revealed by Microsoft. This is Mike Straw at Insider Gaming. Quote, the MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition is real and it has been officially revealed by Microsoft. Available starting today, June 24th, for $399.99. The announcement confirms the leaks that took place late last week. The MetaQuest 3S Xbox Edition includes a black and green MetaQuest 3S headset with 128 gigabytes of storage, matching controllers, a, quote, limited edition Xbox wireless controller, end quote, Elite strap, 3 months of Meta Horizon Plus, and 3 months of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Players will also be able to pair any Xbox wireless controller, adaptive controller, or Xbox Elite wireless controller via Bluetooth, end quote. Meta, Xbox, they're hanging out, Connor. They're having a good time.
As I understand it, the only thing you can do with this outside of like the general like meta games that you can play on any MetaQuest is pull up a screen and play Xbox games through that, and that's it. There isn't like you can't like hook this up to your Xbox and play VR games.
Yeah, I believe that is the case.
I don't really know what the point of this is then.
They're just hanging out. They just wanted a cool edition, I think. That's my general premise, that they just want another MetaQuest out there. Let's put an Xbox skin on it, and let's have that moment where you get to pull the screen up and everything and play Game Pass games.
Yeah, if you're interested in this, let me know like what the selling point is for you. I'm curious because I don't personally have a use case here, but there's got to be some people who are interested in it. So I'm curious how this ends up being received. So
I'm not interested in it like at all. I kind of get it though. Xbox is doing one thing with their marketing at this point. Hey, we're fucking everywhere, dude. We are everywhere, and this is them saying, yeah, we're also on a VR headset, even though it's not like the most ideal way to play some of these games. In my opinion, I still would prefer just to sit on my couch with a controller and play Hi-Fi Rush or any other Game Pass game. But like, this is, in my opinion, them just continuing to solidify the messaging of what they're doing. Where I love that we've been doing the show now for 2 years at this point, where at the start of doing, not this show in particular, but content creation in general, at the start of content creation with Co-op 64, we questioned the fact of, are they actually going to be putting things like Starfield and other exclusives everywhere? And the answer is, yep, we're going everywhere. And then slowly and surely over 2024 and what now has been 2025, it is them just like banging the drum of like, we are doing one thing: play anywhere, play freaking anywhere. And this is just another check on the promise that they've made basically since they've fully transitioned over. I would say since buying Activision, they got to make money.
It's funny that you mentioned Starfield though. That's like one of the only games
that's not. I know. I know that it's currently not. I said games like Starfield, by the way. I didn't say Starfield was on that list and everything. But yeah, games like Starfield and everything. So yeah, I think that this is a good move. Connor, I just want to, as always, thank you for showing up now on this show, joining me on a Friday, having some fun, just yapping up about some games. And I also want to shout out the amazing people over on patreon.com/coop64 that support this show directly. Shout out to our dearly beloved members, amazing members like V Slashing,
Ooh Gracie,
Grey Direwolf,
Fathead,
Deadman,
JC,
Only One Rufus,
Choozar,
MG Dunbar,
Mr. Munchies,
Firm Spud,
Rocket Tater,
Nofi,
JC Falcon,
Frozen Crushes,
Swampy Bits,
Jaxie,
Sconesy.
Cheery.
Yeah, no, that was right. Sconesy.
Cheery Sentry.
DQ Lonzer.
Strachan, 1978.
Tyler D.
Scooterman.
Das Goopy.
Dingleberg Rules.
Sunshuru.
Hook'em Horns.
Go Nash.
Neutral Sphere.
Charlie W.
Easton C.
Stooby Dooby.
We nuke this kingdom.
Crispy.
DJ Zach B.
Uli.
Jacob D.
Big Mac.
Metal Nate.
The Patty Cake.
Bear Pog.
Yogi.
Damn.
Holden M.
Colin C.
Brock.
Voodoo.
Dr. Pookie Bear.
Alex Golden.
Andrew H.
Master Diz.
Drifter X1 Skirt.
Presto.
Maverick.
Goops.
JMatt B3.
Ali Bid Ali.
And Kingdom Hearts Sucks.
Connor, do you have a final plea to Vorpal Matt, because it's the last time before we switch that name over for July?
Do what you must.
We will see you in the next one, everyone. Peace out.